They made a critical mistake when they decided to mess with me. I'm about to tell you the story of how a group of HOA officials turned my peaceful life into a living hell and how I transformed that hell into a money-printing machine. That's right. They built a fence blocking the only road to my ranch. But apparently, they never heard the saying, "Never anger a Texas rancher." Today, I'm sitting here counting the money from my homemade toll booth while the HOA president is explaining to his superiors why their budget suddenly vanished. I'm Alex Whitaker, a 38-year-old remote business consultant with a lifelong passion for electronics and DIY projects. 2 years ago, I bought a 30-acre ranch just outside of Austin, Texas, chasing my dream of self-sufficient living. The property was rough when I got overgrown fields, a battered farmhouse, and a barn that looked ready to collapse. But the land was fertile, the water rights were ironclad, and the location gave me just enough peace without sacrificing access to supplies. Since middle school, I'd been tearing apart electronics and putting them back together. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they caught fire. Either way, I learned. I used that knowledge to automate my ranch. My first major success? An irrigation system that used weather data and soil moisture sensors to water crops efficiently. Then came the solar-powered chicken coop with doors that opened at sunrise and closed at sunset. I even set up a birthing alert system for my goats. My ranch became a sanctuary, a place where I could innovate and grow. Locals would come to buy eggs, veggies, and even rent out parts of the land for camping or events. Everything was going smoothly until that letter arrived. It was a certified notice from the Golden Trails HOA referencing unauthorized road usage and upcoming security enhancements. Seemed odd since I had a legally recorded easement allowing me access through their neighborhood. That road had been there for 50 years. Still, I went to the meeting. That's when I met the new HOA president, Richard Granger, a slick transplant from Dallas, dressed like a lawyer and smiling like a used car salesman. Next to him stood Tracy Voss, the HOA manager, arms crossed like she was guarding state secrets. They unveiled their plan. A massive luxury housing development, complete with tennis courts and a private clubhouse. But there was a problem, my ranch. They called it an eyesore. Their solution? Erect a gate and a fence to block the road I used. I stood up and reminded them about my easement. Richard barely blinked. He said I could pay $3,000 a year for an access card. I nearly laughed. I had a legal right to that road. No HOA vote could override a filed easement. After the meeting, I got the truth from George Rankin, an older resident who'd been around for decades. Richard planned to pressure me into selling so he could complete his development. He'd done it before in other places, start with access restrictions, then code violations and water issues until the owner gives up. I called an old friend from college, Amanda Tran, a real estate attorney. She told me to get a certified copy of the easement immediately and document everything. She warned me it could be a long, expensive fight. The next morning, the construction started. I woke to the sound of heavy equipment digging holes for fence posts. Workers were pouring concrete, erecting a gate that cut off my access. Richard showed up holding a permit he wouldn't let me read and smugly offered a temporary access card. Furious but not foolish, I took it and drove straight to the county registry. The easement was there, clear as day. Amanda confirmed it was valid. But filing for an emergency injunction would take weeks. That night, as I walked the new fence line, I noticed something odd. The gate curved in an unexpected way. I pulled out my property survey and realized they had built part of the gate on my land about 3 feet of it. Amanda confirmed that gave me leverage. I called my contractor buddy, Marcus Green, who helped me verify the encroachment. With his help and my electronic skills, we hatched a plan. Over the weekend, we built a professional-looking toll booth on my land, right next to the HOA gate. I installed a barrier arm, cameras, a payment terminal, and even solar panels for power. By Sunday night, it was fully operational. Monday morning, the chaos began. Residents returning from trips were met with a polite sign. Private property toll. $20 per crossing or $100 for a monthly pass. Some paid, some argued, some called the cops. But Officer Daniels, a local deputy, reviewed my documents and ruled it a civil matter. He's on his property, Daniels said. If you don't like it, take it to court. Richard went ballistic. He called me a criminal, accused me of extortion. I just pointed to the HOA gate and said, I'm doing exactly what you did. charging for access to my land. The toll booth became local legend. I even got interviewed by Channel 7 News. Public opinion turned against Richard, especially when residents realized they were paying 2 tolls, one to me and one in HOA dues. Then came the vandalism. My cameras caught Richard, Tracy, and another man at 2 a.m. damaging the booth. They spray-painted the lenses, smashed the payment box, and tried to disable the gate. Unfortunately for them, I had hidden backup cameras. I gave the footage to the police, my lawyer, and a few local reporters. When Richard denied everything, I uploaded the video to social media. It went viral. Amanda and I also discovered Richard had financial ties to the developer. He'd hidden those from the HOA board. Worse, he falsified the original building permit, lying about the location and ignoring my easement. With that mountain of evidence, we demanded a formal meeting. Amanda arranged it at her office. I offered a deal. I'd dismantle the toll booth if they tore down their gate and formally acknowledged my easement. Richard smirked. "We'll bury you in legal fees," he said. "You'll give up eventually." What he didn't know was that Amanda had recorded the entire conversation legally. Texas law only requires one-party consent. We had a posted sign at the door. We released the recording along with everything else. Emails, surveillance footage, permit records. The fallout was swift. Residents demanded Richard's removal. Tracy resigned within days. The HOA board, under pressure, voted to remove the gate, issue a formal easement acknowledgement, and reimburse me for legal fees. The developer pulled out of the deal. My toll booth brought in over $15,000 in just a few weeks. I used the money to start a land rights defense fund. I hosted a barbecue to celebrate, inviting everyone from the neighborhood, except Richard. We transformed the old gate area into a garden and picnic spot. I added a sign that read, "Never pick a fight with a rancher who builds things." Today, my ranch is a community hub. We host workshops, school visits, and farm-to-table events. The experience taught me that one person armed with knowledge, determination, and a few clever tools can outmaneuver a corrupt system. And to anyone else facing the same kind of HOA nonsense, document everything. Know your rights. And never, ever back down.